Hey, beautiful people. So, I just want to talk to y'all real quick about advice. I'm giving you advice on advice. How about that? Just taking advice from certain people. Like, use good discernment about who you take advice from, especially when it comes to your relationships. Okay? Now, I share my opinions, my thoughts, my wisdom, things I've learned over the years of being, married for 14 years. But when I was married, whenever I would have issues with my husband, I was cautious about who I would take advice from. It's usually my discernment. I wasn't taking advice from anybody that was single. I wouldn't take advice from anybody who was either single or somebody who had never been married. If you were single and had a long-term relationship because a widow, single because you're a widow or something like that, then that's different. And even with that, I still take advice with a grain of salt because no two relationships are the same. What works for your relationship don't work for my relationship. What works for my relationship don't work for the next person's relationship. And that's just the God's honest truth. What I need in my relationship, or for me, from my spouse, is not necessarily what the next woman needs. So with that being said, I want you to be cautious about who you take advice from, how you use the advice, because sometimes you're taking too many people into your relationship. And this goes on both sides of the fence. I've seen men take advice from the wrong man and get caught up and lose their whole family. It happened with my husband to some degree. So the difference between mentorship and advice. Mentorship for me is somebody who's not necessarily telling you what to do or how to do it, but they're just giving you guidance and an enlightenment. So for me, when I was married, I worked for the YMCA, and I had many older adults that I became very close with. And some of these women had been married 50, 60, 70 years even. And I would seek them as counsel, as godly counsel and marriage counsel for, and I wouldn't give them personal stuff that was going on, but I would ask questions, and that level of wisdom really is where I am now. The reason I can say certain things that other people don't even think about, or people will come to me and ask me questions about this and that and the third, the reason I can give those nuggets of advice or information, if you will, is because I would talk to women who've been married for 60 years. And I can honestly say, just in the 14 years of marriage that I had, certain things go change that, look at a person's character and not their bank account. Bank account go change, So that's just guidance, if you will, or mentorship, more so than advice. To me, advice is, girl, you better do this or do that, or, and I just want you to be cautious about who you take into your relationship, who you allow into the inner beings of your relationship, okay? Because what works for you and what works for me may not be the same. Your spouse and my spouse is certainly not the same, okay? So everybody's dealing with different stuff. No two relationships are the same. So I just want y'all to be cautious about who you take advice from, especially in relationships. If you want to be successful in your relationship, you need to talk to that individual. Now, it's fun to, it's good to have some camaraderie and somebody that you can bounce information off of and really kind of say, what you think about this? But make sure they're in a good mental space. Make sure they're in a good head space and they're not coming from a men ain't shit kind of mindset. Like, you won't hear me say men ain't shit. I just feel like that's, first of all, that's too broad, because no two men are the same. But men are very much misunderstood, and y'all can go back and watch some of my videos about how I feel about men. I love everything about a man, so you won't hear me say stuff like that. But if you get into, oftentimes your friends will be in such low vibrational energies that they never experienced a good man, and they pass that same, man, you got a good one, and you thinking he just like the rest of them, and you're allowing other people into your relationship when you need to be using your own discernment and your own intuition, and go into your prayer closet and ask God for guidance and let it ride and see. But that's all I got. I love y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know your comments. I read them all. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings to you.